I think I speak from the fandom when I say, what the heck? Because we were all hoping, and this is season three, so there was hoping um, for a Kate romance. There was some steamy moments. Let me just
Mm,
say on that desk, we'll talk
mm.
about that. But what were your thoughts when you first read um, that they weren't going to be connecting this season romantically after all?
Yeah, it's I love that opening, by the way. Um, what were my thoughts? So there's my thoughts as David, and then there's my thoughts as Dennison. And
Okay.
then eventually, maybe David concedes to Dennison. Um, so my thoughts as David when I read that were, what the heck? As you said, what's happening? And I think that's because um as David, I'm quite instinctive. And so when as David I jump into the skin of Dennison, I'm like, oh, instinctually, this is what he feels about Kate. This is what he feels about justice. This is what he feels about politics. This is what he feels about common sense and decency and integrity and all of these things. But there's so much of Dennison that has to remain locked up for survival. I remember seeing an interview with your incredible tennis player, Arthur Ashe, and the interviewer said to him, I mean, what do you think, Arthur, when someone like McEnroe behaves the way that he does,
Mm.
and a gentleman such as yourself, what do you think? And Arthur Ashe pauses and he says, I'm envious. And he says, envious? How? He says, don't think that I don't feel all of those things
Oh, sure.
and want to act out. And sometimes I wish I would be able to, but he can't. And it's something that's always stuck with me. I get to play a lot of these types of characters that go into these environments. And I guess myself, I get to go into environments that not a lot of the time people like me get to go into. And so that's my alarm to tell me not to miss speaking with you. um, uh, so it's such an interesting thing to put on the skin of Dennison and zip him up and look out, and he feels the things that I feel, that we feel, that the fandom feels. He does. But one of the things that and this is me slipping into thinking from Dennison's perspective, one of the things that one of our foreign secretaries over here that looks a bit like me said to me is that, of course, you feel those things. And of course, you want to while out, but we have to be above reproach. And I think that's where the writing gets it accurate. There's so many times that Denison's appears quite silent, but I think I'm interested in what's fueling that, what's underneath that silence. So,
And I think that's why he does pull back when they are having that moment on the
mm,
desk. He says, okay, I've let myself get way too far with with this. Um, we definitely time to rein it back in.
mm,
But I think that it was a lot of the fans were saying that they thought it was interesting that Dennison was the one to pull it back rather than Kate
yeah,
pulling it back.
yeah. Um, how so? Why would they have thought that Kate would have pulled it back? Because of
I guess because she's, the woman in the situation and she's married and she has all these, responsibilities to the president and things like that as well. They thought, I guess, maybe she should have been the one to be like, no, wait, wait.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
I remember the line. I remember there is a line.
Well, what's the line? Can you remember the line?
Oh no, no, I meant like there is a line.
Oh, there is a line. Sorry, got it, got it, got it, got it. Got it.
So I
I think that's that McEnroe Arthur Ashe situation, isn't it? I think there are certain lines that, sadly, even in 2025, even in fictional drama, but I say this a lot in the press, like it fascinates me to see what some statesmen can get away with. And then if there are statesmen that look like me, the bar and the kind of the boundaries are so much taller and narrower and less space. Um, I mean, I remember one of your presidents being being almost um, trolled for wearing a tanned suit. I thought, wow, for wearing a tanned suit. Oh my gosh. Um, so yeah, I think as much as we would love to run with those kind of feelings and that escapism, um, it's not a documentary, but it's not fantasy.
sure.
So, and that fancy, yeah. But me as David, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with the fans.
Okay, so then do you think as David that Dennison will be a little bit heartbroken when he finds out she did go there with someone else?
Yeah, I think he has to be. I think like I've kind of put Dennison into head voice and heart voice and soul voice, and Dennison lives so much in his head. And I think there's only so much of that you can do as human beings. And you think this is the right thing to do, and we're going to just turn that down and switch that off. But the other bit is your subconscious, and you can't easily switch that on and off. And I don't think he has found, as much as he's tried, I don't think he's found the off button for that.
As we said, things get pretty steamy there. Well, what's it like for you filming that scene? Was that your first on-screen love scene?
No, no, it wasn't actually. I've had a few. And I mean, I remember thinking, oh yeah, I usually go to the gym before I usually go to the gym before I do a day's filming, is what I was going to say. Um, and and that day started really early, so I couldn't go. And I was thinking, oh yeah, yeah, I'll go to the gym, I'll have a bit of a swim, and then. And I remember getting back and just being physically drained. And and I think that was just because of the sort of acrobatics Denison's mind and heart and soul are doing within that scene. I think it's such a dance that it absolutely drained me. And I've not had that before in scenes like that I've filmed. So I think that's quite interesting. Um, and it was something that shocked me. So that's probably says more about how it was filming that. And
Well, now you know that you do have to go to the gym. You've learned your lesson before filming love scenes.
thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Note to self, I will do that.
There are so many standout episodes this season. Is there a
Mm.
particular one that holds a place in your heart or was a favorite to film?
Um, it was it's quite cool because they send us all the episodes so that when we talk to good people like yourself, we feel slightly more informed, or we are informed. But we are we get to go to some screenings, usually of just the first episode. Um, and I love the first episode. I love that it feels so pacey, but there are moments of silence, and us as the audience, we know what is filling that silence. Are they going to get Hal on the phone? How is in a shaky place. Kate's trying to get hold of Hal, but she's caught in this tent, you know, the secure tent. The tension around that, I absolutely loved. I love, I love that when Dennison and Kate meet, because they don't touch each other because I think it's too charged and too it's too dangerous. But when they first meet, there's nothing that they can say, and they have this beautiful hug, and the audience gets it. And it was so interesting being in the room with people and hearing and feeling the audience get that. And then Trowbridge kind of just is like, "Oh, this is what we're doing now? Okay, so we're hugging." And it's just brilliant because that that tells me that all of the points and the nuances from season one to two to three have all been followed by the audience. And then, of course, the last line of the first episode where Grace makes her decision. I knew what was coming, so I sort of came off the screen and looked at my cousin who was sat next to me, his wife, and the audible gasp and the pause, people like literally um frozen like that for like a good few seconds. And I thought, wow, that was interesting to me as well. So Kate's all of her, I don't want this job, I don't want this job, and us just picking up that she's slightly changed her hair and she's slightly kind of ironed and picked her clothes. We're right there with her. And then that decision. So so I really enjoyed that. Obviously, episode four, you know, on a personal level, I think we see that. I love also, I think it's at eight, maybe. I love the scene between Dennison and Kate at the fireplace. I love filming that. I thought that was so beautifully written and was a joy to kind of just dance with Kerry around that dialogue and that setting. And it was, yeah, it's a bit of a dream.
There's such great chemistry between the two of you. Talk about working with Carrie Russell.
Mm. Um, Unassuming. I mean, I've never met her ego in 3 years. Um, there must obviously be a pride in her work because I think the work that she produces is phenomenal in this, and to work at that rate. Um, I I did a film in between seasons this year, and I was playing the lead, and I thought of her. I thought, my gosh, to do this for 6 months, I just did it for a for a short period of time, which I loved. I absolutely loved. But the workload is insane. And for her to do that for that amount of time and that consistently brilliant, I take my hat off to her. Um, Huge amounts of fun, super like funny person, and just a lovely, just a good egg, as they would say. She's a good egg.
This series is so beloved by so many fans,
Mm,
as was your wonderful work on Carnival Row. What does it mean to you to be a part of these beloved series?
mm. Ooh. Um, I think like firstly the the privilege. I realize that I am very blessed to be able to tell these kinds of stories and enjoy the stories and the subject matter and enjoy the worlds that are set up um, for me to come and play in or to get to have the honor of playing a character in. Um, and then there's a pride and there's a kind of like, oh, we did that, and that's a beautiful thing to be a part of and a beautiful thing to have uh, my name put to. So it's uh, it's all good. It's not without its challenges, but generally a sense of like uh, honor, pride, and privilege, perhaps.
Does this mean you'll be back for season 4 of The Diplomat?
I couldn't possibly say, um, but um, but yeah, I think I think it's a wonderful show.
What's next for you? Have you been busy working on any other projects, any films?
Yeah, so I just did a beautiful film actually. Um, and in fact, this is my desk. This is a picture of me and the director on our first day shooting. I don't know if you can see that. Um, can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
Um, and and it's a film called The Bard, and it's about the first African American to ever be published in the United States. And I mean, talk about honor, privilege. So you get to play that part. I mean, this guy is incredible. He was a poet, and his poetry is it's sublime. I mean, I kind of I found out about him and the project, so I would just sort of spend days just sat in one of his poems, just reciting it, and just walking and listening. And this guy was a genius with his words and what he was talking about. A lot of the time, we think they're love poems, but I reckon that he was talking about this yearn for freedom. And um, he was so amazing, so charismatic and galvanizing that he used to sell his poems to the local university students who would buy them for people that they were courting. And then that would work. And so they'd get repeat business. And he was supposed to be selling vegetables for the landowner and the human owner, which is weird. Slave owners it's kind of crazy to even think that was a title, but so he would broker these deals with this person. I'll pay you 25 cents a day if you let me go and sell this poetry, and was making a huge profit. Incredible story. Um,
Got
and
some
what a
great
time.
co-stars in that too.
Get some, say that
You
again.
have some great co-stars for that one too.
Oh my word. And not only sort of great on a CV level, but like they came and brought everything to like it was such a treat, a delight to go, who am I playing with today? And they would just bring so much to it. For every single person, from every crew member right the way through. I think we just caught an amazing moment with each other and each other's careers. So that was very exciting. So I think that comes out next year at some point. So I'm sure we might speak again on that. And then there's so many different conversations happening at the moment that um I tend to just take it day by day and then let's see where we land. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, especially the life
Mm.
of an actor, very tentative.
Yeah, yeah. It's tentative, and then you get moments where, like, I've had. again, I realize that there's an element of blessing about that, but there are moments where it's tentative, but then there is different things that you have to weigh up, and you have to kind of learn how to find what is that next right job amongst if you're lucky enough to have different options or different conversations happening. So I'm kind of really keen to find the next thing that really challenges me, um, and that collaboration of people, where we just go, we're just going to try and make something special, and we'll just have a go at that and see what happens. So that's